Welcome. In this business finance lecture, we will be going over study problem 2-1 in page 47 from the 8th edition of our textbook. Here's a view of the problem. Let's start by highlighting some key ingredients of the problem. So we are told that the 10-year treasury bond is currently yielding 4% nominal interest rate. And at the same time, we also have some information about a 10-year corporate bond which has a nominal interest rate of 6.8%. It is also given that the liquidity risk premium for that corporate bond is 0.4%. Given these facts, the question is asking for the corporate bond's default risk premium. We'll begin by recalling the formula for nominal interest rate, obviously. So that formula applies to any given security, be it a 10-year treasury bond or corporate bond. Okay, so the nominal interest rate is equal to the real risk-free interest rate, basically the treasury bond interest rate, but in real terms, plus the inflation risk premium, plus the default risk premium, plus the maturity premium and the liquidity premium. Now let's go ahead and apply this formula for these two securities. Let's start by applying this formula to the 10-year treasury bond. So for the 10-year treasury bond, the application of this formula to the 10-year treasury bond yields that the nominal interest, which is actually given for the 10-year treasury bond, that figure is 4%. So that thing is equal to the real risk-free interest plus the inflation risk premium, plus the default risk premium, plus the maturity risk premium of this 10-year treasury bond. Because it's a 10-year, let me just represent it by putting the letter 10 there, and then plus the liquidity premium. Now notice that all these numbers belong to that 10-year treasury bond. In fact, because this security is issued by the US Treasury Department, by assumption, we believe that the US government will never default, and as such, the default risk premium and the liquidity premium vanishes, so they are both equal to 0. That significantly simplifies our formula. So the real risk-free interest rate plus the inflation risk premium plus the maturity premium for the 10-year corporate bond. So if you will, I can put a letter T to represent that it's for the corporate bond, for the treasury bond. That number is equal to 4%. So that's our first equation. Now we can go ahead and apply the same initial formula here to the 10-year corporate bond as well, right? So at the beginning I mentioned that this formula applies to any security, corporate bond. When applied to the corporate bond, again the nominal interest for the corporate bond would be equal to 6.8%, which is equal to the real risk-free interest rate plus the inflation risk premium plus the default risk premium, the maturity premium, again this is a 10-year security, plus the liquidity premium. Now let's sit back and try to observe a couple of things. So first of all, the real interest mentioned here is the same as the real risk-free interest mentioned in the 10-year treasury bond. So also the inflation risk premium, because inflation is related to the economy-wide concept and macroeconomic concept, these two figures are also equal. And finally, check this out. The maturity risk premium for the corporate bond and the treasury bond are also equal. Why would that be? Because both securities have a lifetime of 10 years. So as a result, these two are also equal. So that's amazing, because we already know from our calculation for the treasury bond that these three parameters, they add up to 4%. So now I can plug that into the corporate bond valuation, the nominal interest rate calculation. So as such, so I'm basically replacing these three terms, the real risk-free interest rate, the inflation risk premium, and the maturity risk premium, with the number 4%. Now I still have two more variables. I should be careful. I still have to figure the default risk premium, but guess what? The liquidity premium is provided in the problem. It's 0.4% for that company. So 0.4% it is. And we are pretty much done. So the rest of the problem is just making some algebraic calculations, and sure enough, I can move the 4% and the 0.4% to the left hand side of our equation. So 6.8% minus 4% minus 0.4%. I believe that figure would be 2.4%. Yes, that should be right. So 2.4%, and that's our default risk premium. This is the result that we were after. So that should be the end of our solution. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned.